You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Dini. We have another special guest for you guys, so you definitely want to stick around for that. And as a matter of fact, text your buddies, family members, or even share it on social media right now and let them know that we are about to dive deep into another interview. Before I bring my guest on, I do want to say that you can turn things into a positive situation. In every life, there are plenty of time and energy available for magnificent success and achievement. Too often, though, that energy is wasted on unproductive and negative pursuits. I mean, come on, the world has a lot to offer, right? A lot of things to look at, a lot of things to do, listen to. It's like they're just, well, I don't want to go there. But anyway, there's a lot to look at. But, the next time you feel yourself becoming negative, stop and consider what would happen if you apply that negative energy in a positive direction. Imagine what would happen if you simply turned it around and put it to work for you instead of against you. A car that is traveling 70 miles per hour towards the north can easily stop or be stopped, turn around and heading 70 miles per hour towards the south. In the same way, you can control your own personal energy to that it moves you towards your goals and dreams rather than away from them. Like the hokey pokey. You do the hokey pokey and then you turn yourself around. A lot of people get caught up in the hokey pokey, but the real important thing about this song is that you turn it around. You can go in any direction. You're going in the wrong direction, turn around. There's a lot of hokey pokey going on. Turn it around. Anyhow, in the same way, you can control your own personal energy. Instead of complaining, transform your complaints into useful and productive suggestions. Instead of being envious, transform that envy into positive admiration. Rather than wasting your time with worry, make use of your time with action. Instead of getting angry, become determined. The energy is already there, ready for you to use. Just imagine what could happen when you make sure it flows in a positive direction. Take that from me, Coach Denny, and that is my word, and let's go.
Ooh, 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 yeah! Wow! This is the voice of Dominic Tony, here to invite you to see me perform live, May 25th at the North Hills Dive Bar and Grill.
See Dominic Tony live, May 25th at the North Hills Dive Bar and Grill. Dominic Tony live, May 25th at the North Hills Dive Bar and Grill. Showtime starts at 8 p.m. For more information on how to book Dominic Tony to perform in your venue, go to www.dominictony.com.
Don't miss out on a night to remember. Come make some memories with me. And remember, folks, you ain't heard nothing yet.
All right. Again, welcome to the show. You're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Deanie. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings. The ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Well, again, I want to welcome you to Vigilantes Radio, where today's stories meet the storytellers who craft them. We are thrilled to have Donna Lynd with us, a distinguished author, scriptwriter, and a master of weaving complex narratives that challenge and captivate. So we'll be talking with Donna about how her work spans scripts, screenplays, and now a mystery novel. We are very excited to peel back the layers of her creative process and the stories that she tells. And with that, let's welcome Donna to our show. Hello, hello. Welcome.
Hello. Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's so wonderful to have you here with us tonight. I guess we should start by getting a little bit of your background. Maybe you could start telling us about your transition from, well, I think that's speeding up a little bit. How did you get into writing? Because you wrote scripts and academic materials.
Yeah. When you were talking about doing the hokey pokey and turning things around, I think that's my story. I've been very blessed in my life to just have opportunities, and it always seemed to be writing, whether it was skits or instructional materials or whatever it is, and people would put things before me, and it was like, gosh, why not? Let's give it a try. And sometimes going forward, you hit a wall, and then sometimes amazing things begin to happen. And I think for me, the writing process I am in right now, I found out from an interview the other day, apparently I'm creating a new kind of genre. Who would have guessed?
Absolutely.
Isn't that fun?
It is. All right.
Mystery writer. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Anyway, some mystery writers were like, well, this isn't a cozy and this isn't a classic. Going through real, actual crimes and then re-looking at them without new information I don't know that we've had this before. So that was actually very confounding for me to have people kind of, I guess like you jazz players, all of a sudden I'm creating something that I hadn't expected.
And you end up crafting Leaving Innocence.
Yes, sir.
Is this based on any truth, or is this a real mystery?
Yeah, it is. It is based on an actual murder and unsolved, and we were able to get all the information about it. And the one thing about our victim, actually my cousin, was a very good man, and so all the things that most investigators look at is, why was this person killed? What's the money? What's the secret life? What's the bad secret? What's the whatever? And then if they can't come up with anything, they're like, well, I guess they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I had taught computers all those years, and so we were able to do the computer forensics and look at it. A dear friend of mine and I actually traveled to Atlanta to the murder scene, and when I told her what I'd been thinking about what I thought happened, she all of a sudden, because she's a very smart, analytical person, when she agreed with me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what really happened. And then to tell that in a way that's compelling and it was really my goal, and credible fiction, so that people are walking around with our characters who've never lived and never existed, and yet we care about them so desperately.
How did you feel at the end of having written this novel?
Very good. In fact, we want very much, this will be the beginning of a series. And it had originally been pitched because the characters are so unusual at a screenwriters conference, and they're so cookie cutter that they were like, you're going to have to write a book about this because we don't know. And then when we got to the end of it, it was like, we love these people. And I guess for several of our fans, which we love desperately, they're really the most important characters. Your fan is our reader, is that they can hardly wait to hear the next adventure that they're going to have. So that's one of the things that I guess keeps us going, isn't it? Is being able to be part of something bigger.
Yeah. And this whole novel became an adventure for you, especially traveling to Atlanta. Like, that is real research.
Exactly. I had grown up every summer in a very small town in northwestern Arkansas, which is where we center where our main character, Gran, she's like a Sherlock Holmes, only not at all. A woman who has lived off the grid. I don't know whether on purpose or not, it's just been part of her life. And then she has a grandson who becomes the narrator, like in a Sherlock Holmes, Watson is the one that always tells the story. So this is her grandson. And he's spent his entire life being a virtual life. He had this goofball mom and really been raised in his car, but he's just like this computer genius. And the two of them travel together. So in some ways, it's really a meeting of real world versus virtual world, and how that can just merge in such a way that information, or like in this case, this investigation, goes in ways that a regular investigator, someone who's paid to discover what's going on, could never go. And I think that was another really fun part of peeling back the layers.
Absolutely. You had a rich career. Have a rich career. Better put. Many roles you've juggled. What advice would you offer a young, bright-eyed Donna if you ran into her?
Oh, dear. I think it's been fun as I've been speaking with people who, let's say, came from journalism or came from that kind of era of training where they take all kinds of information and they like start filtering out so they can come up with a story. I was really lucky because I didn't have any filters, and I probably, if I was talking to young Donna, I'd go, that's a way to do it. It's really good. Go ahead and learn every single thing you can. I came in through writing instructional materials, so you don't filter out anything. In fact, just the opposite. You try to work with a subject matter expert. You learn everything they know, and then you watch other people learn it. So you know the places that people would get bored. This is the part where everybody gets confused, or these are the skills that we've really, really got to have them walk out the door. So it isn't a narrowing at all. It's a broadening, and it's a deepening, and then the whole time you're like testing. Gosh, did that really work? Can those people really walk out the door with skills they didn't walk in with? I think if you teach music, it's pretty easy, but sometimes other things like, I don't know, flying a drone or putting together, electrostatic discharge, a lab or whatever it is, it's not quite so easy to see whether they've got skills or not. So that was another thing, coming up with ways that people learn, and then do they really have it? And so I was really blessed in my early life to have that, and I wouldn't walk away from that at all. I got to be invited to work with, they call them subject matter experts, so people that know everything. Well, a lot of them are not pleasant people to be around at all. In fact, some of them, because they're so smart, they're used to just being mean. And I think that was a wonderful experience too, for me to get to work with them, and in my mind the whole time I go, oh man, you will just make such a wonderful character one day. So.
No, I could imagine, though, there are real people in the world like that, can be experts at one subject but forget to socialize in the process.
And worse than that, I think their strategy for doing life is they become like mean, because they're so smart, they have an idea, and then rather than just say do it. They actually make it mean so that people don't kind of give them pushback. And so that actually, I found that in aerospace a lot. In fact, one of the men who was actually quite brilliant, I guess he got in an argument with somebody in the Pentagon. I mean, they're building, space ships and stuff. Anyway, so they put him in charge of this lab, and oh my goodness, what a wonderful character he was. We'd sit in a room locked with the other 23 subject matter experts, and every single one I'd be reading what I wrote that the people had told me, and then he'd say something mean, and then he'd look at me and go, "Did you really write that?" And of course I go, "Well, of course I did, but I'm on drugs, so I can't help it." And of course everybody would laugh because it's aerospace, because you got drug tested every hour really, but it was it was funny. And it was like a, what do they call it, boiler room, where it's just like so tight. And then yet when we got all done, it was amazing. And I think that's one of the fun things about being able to write ideas and then make them credible so that people can enter into those ideas with you. It's like, you know what? You didn't know that before, and now you do. Yay! It was great. So.
Absolutely. I like how you humanize. Well, let's go back to the Leaving Innocence. I like how you humanized Gran and Bass Olson. They're very unique characters. What do you think they represent in today's society?
Definitely. Gran, I believe, represents, we would say, old world common sense. But at the same time, I'm realizing that she also represents a group of people that society looks at and go, you have no value. You are powerless. Why would you investigate an old, murder? Yeah, you're nothing. And the fact that she is sort of, in her own way, Rambo or Reacher or some of these characters that are like, there's nothing that's going to stop her. She's not going to do it with like physical violence, but she is determined. So there's that old world determination that she is going to stand for something and she's not going to give up. We have, on the other hand, Bass, our younger one, who's lived like a virtual world. He really respects her, so they have a nice dialogue between them. But in reality, his life has always been kind of virtual, and unexpected things have been taken away, and huge things have not happened for him. And there's that, which I hear in a lot of young people now. It's hard for them to stand up for things because there haven't been nice lines, nice solid foundations for them to build their lives on. So I guess that's what I was hoping, maybe in another plane, kind of to be able to go, you know what, though we are completely different in our experiences and really our giftings, guess what, working together, we are going to be incredible.
Mm-hmm. Did anything get scary during the pursuit of the truth during this story?
Actually, yes. In fact, I'm going to share something. I actually got a death threat letter on May the 2nd. Can you believe it? Our Gran character is definitely Christian, and I think that's another aspect I probably should have explained. When you take on a huge goal, a giant goal, that you're going to solve something that even the FBI and everybody else wasn't able to do, then of course you've got to have some power behind you that lets you feel like you're not what the world says, that you've got this definite higher power. And it's part of her life, part of her friendship. That's been part of how she's been able to survive, living off the grid, so to speak. She has this wonderful, the Innocence prayer circle that covers her, and they let her, oh, you're going to be successful, all that. Well, apparently, somewhere along the way, there was someone in Northern California, maximum security prison, that decided that I was sensitive. So I ended up turning this letter over, to the police and all that. And that's another thing. In fiction, oftentimes people are like, oh, have you ever got any threatening letters? And I'm like, oh, yeah, all the time. Honestly, you get one, and it's like, oh, my. And the good news is the police came within like an hour and they took it. And if I get another one, I can guarantee they'll get another one.
Wow.
So, it's fun. There are actually bad people out there. I know that a lot of writers kind of want to not go there, but we know that there is people that, and they're not just dysfunctional. They actually are quite wicked.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that about faith, especially the Christian faith. I believe we will come to a time where there is a definite line in the sand, and you have to choose. I believe we're getting to that point real soon. But you mentioned something about the younger generation maybe not having a foundation to actually stand on and defend and be proud of, and that worries me the most.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually, this person, Bass, a lot of the voice, I had so many young men, and even one of my sons, really gifted in computers. And I was at a university that they call highly selective, where the kids are always used to being the smartest kids in their whole state, Anyway, one of the guys that worked for me, because I was in charge of the computers, was a guy who, his mom, he'd been raised in his car in Upper New York. He's a brilliant kid, but he'd never had a pet or a yard or obviously a church or, any of the things. And he worked so hard. He was really good. I guess in my mind, that's probably one of the reasons why I kind of created him was I wanted to give this poor guy, a life. And of course he wasn't going to have it with his goofball mom, but he was going to have it with his grandmother, who was really bound with really family values, and that he knew no matter what was going on in his life that she would love and care for him. And I swear, I think that's one of the problems with this younger generation. They don't have that, and I feel so bad for that. Maybe even the person might be in their life, but there's such a distance between what the young ones know and believe and feel, and they're putting all their energy into, I don't know, their gaming persona or whatever it is, that they can't actually touch a real person in their life that would be able to love them no matter what went wrong. And I do feel for so many of our young people. They're easily confused. We're seeing that on our campuses right now, and it's very sad.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And in your book, the theme of generational trust is prominent. Why is the theme so important to you? And how did you weave it into the storyline?
Generational trust, again, is becoming so rare. I know that a lot of screenwriters and people that write for TV, a lot of times when they want to reveal characters, even if one of the dog is the character, there's always like this continual kind of conflict. That's the way people are taught how to write, and that's the way you reveal the characters is through the conflict. I feel like that is not a wonderful way for our human psyche to be comforted. And so to create a dialogue of a younger person with different skills and an older person with a different outlook and different skills and different tools, that they can actually trust each other and find areas that they can agree on, is an important way to model the dialogue that we could have. You can't always have dialogue based on conflict. I mean, I realize a lot of movies and books are kind of based on, this like kind of snarky dialogue back and forth. But in reality, if you want to have growth and you want to have encouragement, and you actually, and in our case, to have success, we need to have it be one that's like honest and yet encouraging, even if it's confusing. Even if you don't know what's going to happen next, because that's what makes an adventure.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of adventure, there is a part of the mystery that involves confronting difficult and dark parts of society, like the KKK and family secrets. How did you handle writing about such sensitive topics?
Um, the good news is, when you've done a lot of things, I actually got to experience that. One of my first jobs out of college was in a very poor area in Louisiana, and the KKK was actually still a political party in there, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow.
They had been long outlawed, but that was just part of this very poor area in Louisiana. And God, again, opened doors, granted me favor. They had like a church revival there, and I was kind of like the odd person from out of state, and everybody thought I just talk so funny. She just talks so cute. That I got invited in, and I got to kind of watch the way the city and the country people handled these people, and we would say of power, of political power. It wasn't good, but it was definitely power. And so I think that was real helpful in writing this realistically. A lot of times people try to create people that they're just superficial, and they're stupid, and they're all these things, and that actually isn't really the case in real life. And to make it credible fiction, they are a lot of them quite wicked, but a lot of them are quite clever and devious.
Absolutely. Given your academic background, how do you see the role of education in shaping, one's ability to tell stories nowadays?
Ooh, what a good question. My goodness. Ironically, telling stories now, because so many of our young people have grown up, they've never not known television. They have never not known computer games. They have never not been able to see whatever movie that they wanted to see. And I mean all economics areas. Telling a story now, I believe, has got to just engage them visually, on that visual side of the brain. Otherwise, I don't know that we can actually get from nothing to something. And that has been a real challenge for me. I love just doing dialogue and action, and which is, the way you write screenplays and skits and scripts and all that. So to move it in where we're actually trying to use words that'll still engage the visual side of the brain, and yet make it real, so you're actually sitting in that car, or you're watching that storm, or you're in the midst of the darkness. We want to do it in such a way that the reader can feel like they are right there.
Absolutely. All right. Where can our listeners pick up a copy of this novel?
We're on Amazon, and we actually, I'm kind of proud of that they made a audio version, which is on Audible, actually Spotify. The young man that is the audio actor who reads the story does a bang-up job. And so that's another one, I suppose, like as you do with musicians, where you hear someone perform your work, and he does so good, and you can tell he's having a grand time. That's been very fun too. So now with not only can you read it, but you can listen to it as you drive.
Absolutely. And guys, I have a piece of this audiobook if Donna allows me to play it.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. That'd be delightful.
All right. Well, guys, let's dive into Leaving Innocence. We'll be right back.
I knew the wind had to die sometime soon. It hammered Gran's house all night, banging tree limbs against the rattling window panes. 2 days ago, I'd received Gran's phone call about my grandpa, old Zeke, being at death's door. I'd driven 32 hours straight to Arkansas to see them. When I arrived, I was exhausted but wired enough on California time to sit by my grandfather's bedside all evening. He never moved. By midnight, my eyes ached from staring at their old Sony TV, repeating severe storm warnings on the Weather Channel. I went to bed. Sometime later, when the windstorm hit with a blasting scream, I woke up sweating, freezing, my teeth chattering, trying to remember where I was. I was in my dead Uncle Daniel's room. His stuff was everywhere. Man, I miss that guy. I was only 8 when he died, but for 17 years, Gran kept his room so that at any minute he could walk back in to change his clothes. A deep, black grief had flooded this house then. It never left. As the wind howled outside, all I could think about was my dead Uncle Daniel, killed in his truck at exactly my age, 25. The noise of rain striking Daniel's window was so loud that I could barely hear the TV downstairs in old Zeke's room. Moving aside the stiff curtain to look outside, I saw lightning flashes burst over 100 wind-whipped live oak trees that lined Gran's yard and the surrounding acres. The date was May 1st, tornado season. I'd driven into the part of the United States that you fly over about 3 hours into a nonstop LA to DC red-eye.
All right, guys. You just got finished listening to a sample of the audio book, Leaving Innocence. I wanted to hear the rest. Well, unfortunately, it's just a clip, and yeah, it's very compelling. Let's go ahead and invite Donna back. Hello, welcome back.
Thank you. Well, you can get it off Audible. You can get it off Spotify.
I can. I do have an Audible subscription, so I will go download it now.
All right.
Alrighty. What are some key lessons that you hope readers will take away from Leaving Innocence?
I hope that they will get unstuck. This woman, you will hear, she'll be a widow, finds out her son's been murdered. A lot of, awful stuff happened to her in a very short time, and yet she chose to not freeze, not grieve, not get stuck, but chose to take action. And I've heard from some of my fans that they really enjoy sharing this book with people in their lives that have gotten stuck. In other words, they've had some huge loss and they feel like they can't go on. Our Gran character is one that she chooses to go on, and she's going to succeed no matter what. So I believe it's hope, it's choosing to have a goal that's bigger than yourself, choosing to have a bigger power than yourself, even if you have no idea how it's going to turn out. I suppose another factor that we have is because she's cared for her husband for 17 years, she gets a windfall. She gets $1 million, and she's going to use every penny of that to leverage as a reward. Very many people that thought, I'd really like to know what happened to this or that. They couldn't actually commit their energy, but more than that, they couldn't commit their resources to really find out. So that's another thing that I'd love for people to realize, that, justice has no price, that we don't need to set the price tag. We need to just go, you know what, we're going to go all out. It's going to cost what it costs. It's just priceless. And when you know it's real justice, you can just go for it 100%. And I think that's what I'd love for my readers to feel. It's like, you know what, there's justice out there no matter what.
I totally agree with that, Donna. And guys, that is all for today's episode with the multi-talented Donna Lynd. Donna, thank you for sharing your insights and fascinating layers behind Leaving Innocence, a Gran and Baz Olson mystery. To our listeners, be sure to pick up a copy to unravel the mysteries, Donna has so skillfully woven. Remember to subscribe to our show, leave us a rating, share this episode with fellow mystery and narrative enthusiasts. And if you enjoy our conversation and wish to support further episodes, consider buying us a coffee over at buymeacoffee.com/Vigilantes Radio. Your support keeps these fantastic stories coming. And thank you guys, as always, for tuning in and keep turning those pages. I think it is so crucial in today's time to pick up a book, pick up a good story, immerse yourself in that world. And sometimes you discover things about yourself. You see yourself in these characters. All right. Thank you so much, Donna. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is only1mediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@only1mediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Denny, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, and all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.
What's up, guys? It's Deanie, and I want to welcome you on a journey of the heart and of the mind. These Fucking Feelings podcast is a beacon in the world of mental health advocacy, and it invites you to join a conversation that's changing lives. We are here to share, listen, and grow together. Led by the passionate Micah Bravery, alongside the insightful Rebecca and Crystal. This award-winning podcast dives deep into the human experience, from navigating relationships to coping with loss. No topic is off limits. It's about real stories and real emotions. These Fucking Feelings is more than just a show. It's a community, a place where vulnerable isn't just accepted, it's celebrated. You can find it across major platforms, including YouTube and Facebook Watch. This podcast is a touchstone for anyone seeking understanding and support. These Fucking Feelings podcast, where every emotion is valid and every story matters. Tune in and transform the way you see mental health.